Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And welcome in, everybody. A Friar Friday. It's finally a Friday. The weekend is upon us. We welcome you into a short edition of Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Matt Scraby here in sunny San Diego. But I got to be honest with you, I'd rather be with Tony Gwynn Jr. in the booth at Fenway Park, where the Padres begin a series tonight against the Boston Red Sox, and we welcome you to the program. Tony, you've been there. You're a former big leaguer, and you got to play in Fenway Park as a player, but I don't know. I'm not there, but it just seems like it's always more exciting. You get a little more fired up for a game in a place like this, and it's a fun place to start the road trip.
Yeah, first time ever doing a game from Fenway, at least from the booth standpoint. And so, yeah, it is a little bit more exciting. You get this is like a historic place here that we're getting ready to watch a baseball game. And great weather. Quite honestly, it literally feels like San Diego in, April, where it's super nice. Yeah, like great weather today. So, yeah, man, looking forward to it. We're kind of high up. I mean, we're up there. The stadium is not the same as like being up there with Pittsburgh or, it's a little bit older. So, they didn't go that high back in the day. But now
they didn't have ladders high enough.
Right. I don't know.
Did they have an elevator to help you get up there, or do you got to trudge your way up there at Fenway Park?
They had an elevator. It definitely had an elevator. It's very much like Wrigley.
Yeah, well, look, they were both built the same year, 1912. Yeah. I was there. I recall when they put the finishing touches on Fenway Park.
You did the scissors when they cut the ribbon?
I cut the ribbon in Boston. Sure I did. But, no, I've been there once for a game, and, it was a thrill. So I know it's going to be a great weekend. And, for the Padres, it's a chance to build on what they did on this last homestand. And, this is a recording, right? The last time they left San Diego, they were coming off the excitement of back-to-back walk-off wins over the Oakland A's, and they were kind of felt like they were on a roll, and they went right into Citizens Field there in New York and promptly got swept by the Mets and came right back down to earth. I don't know that they felt like they were on a roll. We certainly right. We were hoping they were on a
roll.
roll. Sure,
right,
yeah, I think you're right, Tony. But so if they don't, but everybody here does, right? We all think that they're on a roll now. This is it. We're not going to have to see 500, hopefully, again. But in order to do that, you're going to have to get some wins in Boston and then Texas, and you're going to have to show up and ready to play with short lineup, a short team. You're still missing a lot of key pieces. So.
Yeah, listen, this Boston team is playing pretty decent too. 8-2 in their last 10. They're 6 games over 500 at this point. They have what the Padres had early, which is they play better on the road than they do at home. 19-21 at home, 24-16 on the road. So maybe the Padres can take advantage. But you're right. This is still going to be a shorthanded lineup that they have to figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's a pretty talented young group of Red Sox too that they're taking on.
Well, you look, Bryce Johnson, who will be our Friar Friday guest, is back in the lineup again tonight in right field. And, look, Randy Vasquez, who I think has pitched better, in the last handful of starts, will get the start tonight at Fenway Park. And, talk a little bit about what you saw for him the last time out, Tony, and what you think you've been seeing from him. Because I think he's, I don't feel totally uncomfortable with him on the mound at this point.
Well, he's shown the ability to do something that I think Major did a better job of it in his last start, but had struggled to do, which is show that he can get himself out of trouble. Vasquez has really been doing that for most of the starts this year, where there's been a moment where he's been in trouble, and at first, the beginning of the season, he was just limiting damage. Lately, it seems as though he's completely getting out of trouble without any damage, and so I think we've seen some growth there from Randy. I just think for him it's about being more efficient. He tends to run his pitch count up because he's not in the zone or he's having to have longer at bats versus some of these hitters. So I feel like you do. I feel more comfortable watching him out there, and I think he's earned that. He's earned our comfort by going out and pitching and keeping his team in ball games.
Well, Vasquez gets the call tonight. Nick Pivetta, a right-hander, will go for Boston. And, I don't think I can, get into a game at Fenway Park, especially the first one in 13 years, without mentioning the Green Monster out in left field. Now, you're looking at the monster from where you are. Is the monster as monstrous as we all think it is, Tony?
Yeah, I mean it's big. I mean when you get down on
it's big.
From my angle, it doesn't look as big because I'm above it, right? But when you're down on the field, it's a big fence. It's a very, very big fence.
Yes. Well, we know that Profar will not be able to leap over and steal a home run in left field.
We don't know that, Chris.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
We're pretty aware of that.
Do. There's no one but like Superman that could actually do that.
Superman would have a shot at it. How much Profar got to work in left field before this game tonight, Tony, would you think? I mean, playing caroms off the scoreboard.
He's been here before.
Yeah, that's true. He played in the American League.
He spent a lot of time in American League before he came to San Diego. He was all American League with Oakland and Texas. So he spent some time here before, and I'm sure he's played the outfield here at different times, but I'm sure he'll still come out and take some balls. I mean, you got to get out and feel it, even if you've been here before. I would say right field's probably no joke either, because it like wraps around and there's no foul territory after you get down the line a little bit. And so on a grounder, how's the ball? Is it gonna tuck against the side and just kind of wrap around, or is it gonna kick off? I mean, there's gonna be. I would say that's probably just as difficult learning to play as it is trying to fill balls off the monster.
Yeah, and another guy that has to be paying attention tonight is Hassan Kim at shortstop, because I have seen many a ground ball at Fenway Park go down the third base line, then roll into foul territory and kick off that wall and bounce out into short left field.
Right.
And if the shortstop doesn't run down there, that could turn into a double or more. So there's a lot of little nuances about the ballpark. All right, we know we only have you for a short segment, Tony. I want to get to a couple of quick things about the NBA draft. First of all, the news is really good today for our guy Jaden Ledee. He has hooked up a contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So he did not get drafted, but Jaden Ledee is on his way to Minneapolis. He's joining a really good young team. Hopefully Jaden Ledee can put his best foot forward there. I'm not rooting any harder for a guy than I am for Jaden Ledee to make it, get his shot in the NBA. I don't think he was drafted because he's 25 years old, but that shouldn't stop him from earning a roster spot. Keyshawn Johnson signs with Miami. But the day after, Tony, the biggest news in the NBA is Bronny James going to your Lakers. Are you still as excited as you were when the announcement was first made?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think, he's going to have a chance to develop. I mean, that's all I think he wanted, is get a chance to play in the NBA. He'll get a chance to go into a team that knows they're not expecting him to do anything. They're not expecting him to contribute to the NBA team right now. And so that in itself kind of takes the pressure off of him a little bit. You could just, go down, develop, get better. And then when it's time, he'll get his opportunity.
People are being very critical because they have Twitter at their fingertips. And everything is, it's only because of his dad, and it's nepotism, and it shouldn't happen, and this, that. And here, first of all, there's nepotism in every walk of life. Secondly, he's not getting any different opportunity than Jaden Ledee's getting or Keyshawn Johnson's getting. I don't care if his dad's LeBron James. You can't tell me that if this kid doesn't come up and do something, they're just going to continue to put him on the team. I mean, you've got to perform once you get there, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't want to hear any fake arguments about nepotism. Nepotism's been going in the NBA for God knows how long.
That's right.
Ownerships to front offices to coaching staffs. No one said anything about that until LeBron James and his son got involved. And you know what that is. They like to hate on LeBron anyway. So Yeah, I'm not buying that. He'll have to. This is professional sports, and the one thing about professional sports is ultimately, if you don't perform, they get you up out of there. It's just don't matter whose kid you are, don't matter how good the father is. If you can't ultimately help a team, they get you up out of there.
I think Scraby wants to get a shot in, though.
I don't want to get a shot in.
Yes,
That's
you
not
do.
how you need to introduce me into this. I said on the Scraby Show last night, it's similar to like anyone who's offered a big contract. It's not their fault that it's not his fault he was drafted. He wanted to be drafted. And I kind of agree with Tony about the nepotism thing because I was talking about it last night. I think things are harder on him than in other guys.
Heck yeah.
Because
Heck yeah.
he's LeBron's son. People are going to talk trash to him whenever he goes out there.
When Mike Dunleavy's son becomes, or no, I think Mike Dunleavy is the son, right? Or is,
his
Jr.,
dad
right?
was Mike Dunleavy. Yeah.
So,
right.
so when Mike Dunleavy becomes a coach, there's no expectation on Mike Dunleavy being a coach, right? I mean, not like it is for LeBron James' son to be his dad, basically. I mean, that's just the assumption. And same thing when there's an owner son that takes over the team. Everybody's like, oh, the owner's he better be as good as his dad was, or else.
Chargers, cough, cough. Chargers, cough, cough.
No, yeah, nobody said that though.
Please put your hand over your mouth when you do
When I
that.
cough?
Yes, when you cough.
Nonetheless, it's just the nepotism thing that's not a real thing.
I
I should say
agree more.
it's just no one cared about any other nepotism that was happening until Bronny James got involved.
Yes. All right. We will get ready for the pregame show, which comes up at the top of the hour, and then just a little while longer before Padres baseball. One quick reminder, the game is not on local television tonight unless you have Apple Plus. You can stream the game, but here's the really good news. When you go to Apple Plus, you get your choice of broadcasters. That means all of you can listen to Jesse and Tony call tonight's game.
Showtime!
So make it sing tonight, Mr. Gwynn.
Make it sing.
Make it sing.
What is he going to be tickling the ivories over
Tinkle
there?
the ivories. Do whatever you got to do. But enjoy the broadcast. Enjoy the weekend. And we'll catch up to you Monday in Dallas. And hopefully we'll be talking about some wins, Tony.
Sounds good.
All right, Gwynn and Chris is underway for finally a Friday. As mentioned, Bryce Johnson will be our Friar Friday interview. That's coming up as Gwynn and Chris gets rolling.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back.
Welcome back to the program. Skinny Crisello, Skinny Matt Scraby. Tony Gwynn Jr. is off now. He's getting ready to broadcast tonight's game with Jesse Agler from Fenway Park. Also getting ready. Just outside our studio window here at the Odyssey Palace is the great one, Sam Levitt.
He's kind of creepy because he just sits in the dark.
Creepy.
He sits in the dark in the corner. I can't literally.
You can see his computer screen.
Yes, glowing into his face.
All right.
Well, I wasn't calling him creepy. I was just saying.
Yeah, it sounds like you're calling him a little creepy.
He's dark and in the corner.
Sounds like you're calling Sammy creepy. I'll have to go let him know that.
He is pumped up about today. He's got some energy going on.
Well, I think
right
all
now.
Padre fans are pumped up right now. And, you know, I just hope that the other shoe does not drop this weekend at Fenway Park. I mean, that's, you know, even if they just get one win at Fenway and, you know, if they go 3-3 on the road trip, you're right, it feels like they would come home and then be able to resume the momentum that they just created.
Absolutely.
But if they lose 5 out of 6 again, then you basically have lost all the momentum that you just created.
On the Scraby Show the other night, a listener asked me to predict the record for the road trip, and so I was trying to do that. It's not as easy as you would think it is, but I ended up saying 3-3. I honestly don't know. I don't know how many games they're going to take from the Red Sox. I don't know how many games they're going to take from the Rangers. And
we don't. Of course. That's
I'm
why
fired up right now, Chris. I'm shot out of a cannon.
Well, that's why they're going to play the games, actually, so we can determine how many they're going to get. But
yes, but the whole thing was I was going to predict the road trip record.
Well, go ahead. You got a minute.
3-3.
Oh, you did 3-3. All right. I mean,
I
there's
think
only.
they win tonight.
Let's be honest about this. There are only. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 7 choices to this answer. They're either going to go 6-0, 5-1, 4-2, 3-3, 2-4, 1-5, or 0-6.
So what's your answer?
I said 3-3 also. I'm just hopeful for 3-3.
I can't say 2-4 because I feel like I would be letting the Padres fans down by saying 2-4.
Yeah, well, you know what? We can both say 0-6, and it's not going to really have any impact on what happens. But let's just hope that they can keep a little streak going. You know, as I said, they've been at 500 25 times this year, up and down and right at 500. Now that they're 3 games over 500, let's hope that there isn't a 26th time. Let's just hope they stay over 500 from here on out. I got to tell you, you know, the Padres are going into this thing so shorthanded, and I think that's one of the really impressive things, you know, about this season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously, you know, Profar, Merrill, Solano, Waldron, you know, Suarez, so many questions that have all been answered in the affirmative and like way in the affirmative, not really close. Like, has Jackson Merrill been good? Undoubtedly, yes, right? Suarez, yes. Profar, yes, right. But, I mean, all of that stuff, you know, which has allowed them to overcome having 4 of their top 5 big-name guys all injured. That is a lot.
It is.
But, you know, looking around baseball, and look what happened to the Phillies yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in the final 2 innings of the game, they lost Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, both placed on the 10-day injury list today.
Yep.
I'm no doctor, but I'm thinking the way Bryce Harper pulled up running to first base, that looks like longer than 10 days.
Yes, it
I
does.
mean, he's eligible to come back in 10 days, but that doesn't mean that's all he's going to be out. So the Phillies all of a sudden now are going to be going without 2 of the best players in baseball. They already went without Trey Turner for 2 months, but they're not the only ones. How about the Braves? They've been doing it without Acuna. They never did have Spencer Strider.
No. They won a World Series without Acuna.
They did. I don't know that they can win one this time. It's not looking
There's
that
no
way
Jock
for the
Petersons.
Braves.
By the way, what happened to Carl Schwarber in the game?
Carl Schwarber, he made it through fine.
Okay, good.
But the injuries, it's not just a lot of injuries to me. It's injuries to everyone's best players. The Diamondbacks have been without the milkman. Zach Gallen for a month and a half. I kind of like it. They haven't had their starting center fielder, Alec Thomas, since the first week of the season. He's still not back. Dodgers, Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
how about taking him right out?
Yeah, that's a huge one.
They haven't had Clayton Kershaw. Walker Buehler's up and down and back on the injured list again. How about the Giants? Blake Snell has really been a shell of himself.
Yes.
And, I mean, that was one of the real big free agent signings. And their other free agent signing was the Korean center fielder, right?
Jung-Hoo Lee?
Yeah, he's out for the season.
Yeah, he hurt his shoulder.
So
and Matt Chapman, too. And he's not.
He's been in and out.
But he's not been great.
No, but I mean, at least he hasn't been.
True. He's been on the field.
It hasn't been because of injury. The Rockies don't matter, but they're still missing the only guy they pay money to, Chris Bryant. So, it has really hit just about everyone. And it's funny to me, not funny, but interesting that it seems like everybody's best player is getting hurt. Cubs just got Bellinger back off the injured list a short time ago. Cardinals, Wilson Contreras was out for 2.5, 3 months.
I mean, if we're looking at the Angels, too, you got Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon. Those are two high-paid players.
I'm not even getting into the American League yet. But, no, it's baseball has been hit this year by an inordinate amount of injuries. And all you have to do is look at the all-star situation in the National League, especially in the outfield. Profar, without question, deserves to be one of the finalists, and he is. Fernando, we love him, but in a normal year, this hasn't been an all-star season for Fernando.
He just started hitting up like 3 weeks ago.
It's been good, but not all-star. The other finalists, Teoscar Hernandez, he's having a nice year. Christian Yelich, he's been on the injured list back and forth. Brandon Marsh is a platoon player, and Nick Castellanos is hitting about 215. These are the finalists. Why? Well, first of all, Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts don't play the outfield anymore. But the other reason is because all of the other good outfielders are hurt. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a weird year. So, we keep talking about how are the Padres doing this without Bogarts, without Fernando, without Darvish, without Musgrove. And with Manny, I would say far less than full strength for much of the season.
He's just starting to look
good. If he, and he still might be, right. But how are the Padres doing this? Maybe because every other team is having to do the same thing. That has got to be part of the reason why the Padres are, doing such a great job hanging in there. Because I think under normal circumstances, very, very few teams can overcome injuries to four of their top players. And frankly, the Padres are doing a really good job of overcoming it. I mean, they've won 7 of their last 8 games. It pretty much coincides with Fernando going on the injured list,
which is weird.
How does that work? That wasn't supposed to happen.
And if we could take anything from last year and be happy about it, is that AJ Preller learned that he needed veteran bench pieces. He went out and got veteran bench pieces. Very good.
Yeah. Look, Solano, Peralta. Peralta's been all right, but the point, you're right. The guys that have had to fill in have filled in admirably. They haven't necessarily been superstars, but they haven't lost that much with these guys. And I go back to the Juan Soto trade, which everybody, went crazy. But where would the Padres be without Vasquez starting all of these games? Mm-hmm. Where would they be without Dylan Cease, who they were only able to get because they traded Thorpe to the White Sox?
Yep.
And where would they be without the all of a sudden emergence of the Johnny Bench-like Kyle Higashioka? These guys all came in the Soto trade.
They did.
So,
Did you say Michael King, too?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, of course, Michael King. He's been there all year.
And Johnny Brito's down, apparently getting ready to be a starter.
He might be getting ready to come back as a starter here to take Mazur's spot. So that trade has honestly paid dividends, even if on the surface you don't think any of these guys have been, superstars. And while Soto has been a superstar, the Padres have needed every one of these guys to get through this season to this point. So
one of the for Soto, James Wood, I think, is making his debut on Monday. For
I
the
heard
Nationals.
about that.
So we'll
I
have to
heard
see.
about that.
We'll have to-
James,
everybody thinks this guy's going to hit like 70 home runs a year.
well, he won't be the first guy that's come up with people thinking that.
True.
We'll see how well he does. The Nationals certainly have some room for him. I think they've got Lane Thomas out there, who I think is a, legit outfielder. But I think, we'll see. Hopefully James Wood does well. What does it matter at this point?
Because
right?
he's a national now, Chris.
I know. I understand that. And it's, if he hits 20 home runs, then you and I are going to have to hear about it ad nauseum on the show. They've traded him. And, Soto came, and they traded him, and they have what they have now. And right now, they're in a pretty good spot. So that's all that matters to me.
This is a very big series in my mind for one reason, and that's to see if the Padres have broken out of this weird off and on thing that they've been doing all season long. Because they have to have a big weekend.
Would another way of terming that on and off thing a roller coaster of a season?
Yes, I was staying away from the word. But, maybe
would that
when
be a fair way of talking about it?
Maybe back when that word was said, it may have not been as much of a roller coaster, but that's a pretty accurate description of the season.
It's a roller
so far.
coaster now. Come on. You can't say anything else. Hopefully the Padres will continue on the upswing. We'll have their full starting lineup for you when we come back. And also, the guy who's taken over in right field, Bryce Johnson, makes his first appearance on Gwynn and Chris. Our Friar Friday interview when we return. All righty, we are back. Gwynn and Chris, very short program today because the Padres are in Boston, getting ready to take on the Red Sox. Sam Levitt's pregame show is coming up at the top of this hour. We have our Friar Friday interview with Bryce Johnson. Got a chance to meet him. He's from Texas, Scraby.
I know.
And,
I can hear it in his twang.
Yeah, he's got a little twang. He went to Sam Houston State. And as we discovered in the interview, he's not only looking forward to playing at Fenway Park this weekend, but going back to Texas, his home state, to play next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Padres will be off on Monday.
Yeah, we get a lot of off days coming
which
up.
gives us the rare opportunity Monday, Scraby, to have a full 4-hour show.
Yeah.
We have not had one of those since, February?
Oh, 4 hours. You're right. I was going to say yesterday, but no, we didn't. We had a 3-hour
We had
show
3 hours yesterday because we had the
a 3-hour tour.
we had the round table
I'm looking
after our show.
I think you're
yesterday.
right. Honestly, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I'm excited for Monday.
Wow.
Scraby will be hard at work over the weekend, putting together
Are you
an entertaining program for us, probably getting us 2 or 3 guests.
Are you sending 2 or 3 guests?
I always wonder what would happen if you were the guest booker for like the Jimmy Kimmel show,
I wouldn't.
and you just walked in the afternoon and said, Jimmy, I ain't got anybody today. Sorry. They all said no.
You know what's great about Jimmy Kimmel
How
is
would that go?
people are lining up to come on the show.
I know. They're begging to come on those shows.
Here's
That's
here's
how
a-
that works, by the way. Those people beg Jimmy Kimmel to come on so they can promote their book or their movie or their TV show or
that's
whatever.
exactly what it is.
So they basically have their choice
Yes.
of who they want to put on those shows.
I will peel back the curtain a little bit.
Yes.
And there are certain things about my job that I dislike. One of them is the podcast every day. I hate editing audio, the same audio every single day.
Okay.
The other thing is I don't necessarily hate this, but I don't think I'm best at guest booking, Chris. I don't know that I am always thinking guest first. I'm more thinking show idea first.
Well, we've talked about this. Adam Klug and me,
Oh,
the program director of this fine radio station. And other than, I'll ask you out there, you can probably write in the chat if you want to or something, but, if we get, and look, Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. unfortunately just are not available often.
We will get them,
All
I
right?
hope.
Right. They're just not available often. But my point is, other than them, or other than maybe Brian Dutcher on a good day when the Aztecs are in the middle of their season, is there anybody out there that you just have to hear interviewed that totally changes your life for that 15 minutes? And the answer to that is not really.
No, there are people, but are they gettable?
Oh, well, okay.
I would love to have Eminem on because of his whole addiction history and just talk to him.
Eminem. Talk about the Lions a little bit. Preview
Talk about
the
the Lions,
season.
yeah, sure. Talk about the Tigers, maybe. Who cares?
Yeah.
But I that's never going to happen.
Yeah,
He'll
Scarlett
never come on the
Johansson. Come on, let's if we're gonna go Eminem, let's shoot for the big stars. Michael Jordan, what's he doing these days?
Probably
Anyway,
not taking phone calls for local radio interviews.
Probably not. The one thing about it all is it is completely changed from the way it used to be. When we started here,
It has.
with the big station, everybody knows, right? We and WFAN in New York were the only 2 sports talk stations in the country.
You're talking about the Mighty 690.
Right. So you had that on the West Coast, and we had the WFAN, and the only 2. So when somebody got a phone call to be on one of those shows, it was like, yeah, it's a great thing. I'd love to. I'd love to get my name out there, etc. Now every city has 4 talk shows, sports talk shows, or 3, or wherever you are. And if those people all call James Harden at the same time, he's probably going to say, leave me alone.
Well, I wouldn't want to call James Harden.
His name just popped up in my mind.
He'll ask to be traded during the call.
Yeah. Because when I was at the 690 thing, Scrabe, I mean, I'll name drop. But, I mean, Don Shula, Bobby Bowden, Dean Smith, those are just coaches that come off the top of my head. I mean, we really got a lot of great people.
Yeah,
but you can't find these people anymore.
Well, you have to go through the
and
three
you have to
layers
go
of
through
wall.
proper channels. We got Don Shula.
You called
We
him.
called the hotel where he was staying, asked for his room. He answered. We told him that the host of the show is a huge Dolphins fan. Do you mind coming on? And he said, okay. We could never do that at this, in this juncture of time.
We were talking about this just yesterday because I was saying I was having trouble finding a guest for the show yesterday. And I'm feeling like even more, not the local people. The local people are great. They're very good to us. And I'm not saying anything about them. But I'm saying like other people outside of San Diego that are doing national stuff, or if they're covering a team in a certain city, it doesn't make sense for them anymore to come on these shows because it doesn't benefit them, because people can find them on Twitter. People can do all these different things.
Right. If they want to get their opinion out there, they can easily do so. They don't need a radio show.
Yeah.
I mean, I always never forget the time that they had the NBA draft, and late night we had the hotel number and called Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
And woke him up.
That is crazy.
And he did the interview with us the night he was drafted.
I would be afraid for my life, not because of Kevin Garnett, but because that would never happen these days. I would be tackled.
We'd have no chance of doing something like that.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun
By the way,
conversation.
see if you can't get Bronny James on Monday, will you?
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to go after him. Brandon
Get to work
said,
on that, will you?
Brandon said Don and Mud, and yes, we want to get Don and Mud on too, but they have different schedules. Everybody's got their own schedules.
They
these
do.
days.
Don and Mud, and I'll be straight up. Don and Mud are the employees of the Padres, and the Padres would like us to go through them to set up interviews with Don and Mud.
And it's to keep from people continuously reaching out to them.
Exactly. So that's not, it's something we can certainly do, but we can't just call Don Orsillo and say, hey, can you come on? He would actually have to say, wait, I have to check to make sure it's okay.
And it's not like they're
So
really...
it's a different dynamic than it used to be.
Totally different dynamic. And that's a good way of putting it, because the teams don't want people to just be bombarding them with text about coming on the show.
Yeah. I mean, who does a lot of interviews at other radio stations around the country? One, Tony Gwynn Jr. He's quite in demand, but he's had to pare down where he goes on the radio.
It's only Houston now.
I think he's only on in Houston. You're right, but he used to be on in
Atlanta,
several different places. But people want to talk to Tony. All right.
Christian says, get Reggie Bush. We actually had Reggie Bush on one time, and Reggie Bush is a difficult one to book. Let me tell you.
Is he tough?
But the only reason he's tough is because the phone number that I have doesn't work anymore, so I got to go do some research.
Christian, when you get Reggie Bush's phone number, send it along.
Yeah.
All right. One guy that we got today is Bryce Johnson, and we always get our Friar Friday interview, and we are thankful to the Padres for always helping us set this up. And look, this is the guy who's going to be in the lineup for the next month or so. And thought you'd want to get a chance to get to know him a little better, and we did just that. And it is time for our Friar Friday interview. We're excited to have with us the Padres' newest outfielder, Bryce Johnson, back in the starting lineup tonight at Fenway Park as the Padres take on the Boston Red Sox. And Bryce, the thing that caught my eye right away watching you play earlier this week here in San Diego against the Nationals, you're really, really fast. This is something I'm sure you're aware of. Were you always, first time you ever had a race in the schoolyard, did you win? Were you just fast right out of the gate, or is it something that's developed?
No, I think, I don't think anybody touched me growing up when I was, on the track. As a matter of fact, growing up, my first sport was football, and I played receiver, so I had to be fast, kind of, I guess.
Bryce, one of the things that I've learned about you in your short period of time with the Padres is you didn't start switch hitting until you were in college. That's pretty unusual considering that a lot of guys start off pretty early. But just tell us a little bit about your journey in switch hitting and kind of figuring it out as you went along.
Yeah, grew up. I could always switch hit. My dad would always sling me to the other side. Natural side's right-handed, but he'd swing me left-handed, and we kind of fool around. He'd throw, and I developed a swing that he noticed. Not obviously, growing up, I never hit left-handed or anything, but he noticed it. And then high school came around. As a matter of fact, I tried out I think it was my junior year on varsity. I told our head coach, John Pope, I was like, hey, do you mind if I go up here? It was just a quick little scrimmage exhibition game before our season started. Do you mind if I go up here and hit left-handed and try it out? And he said, yeah, that's fine. Went up there, struck out on 6 pitches, left-handed, and told him I'm never going to do this again. You ain't got to worry about it. And then obviously went to Sam Houston. Never thought about doing that ever again. Went to Sam Houston, and then my sophomore year of college, our head coach, Matt Deggs at the time, had a huge glass window that you could see into our cages. And we were just about to leave for Christmas, summer. And I was in there fooling around with a bunch of the guys, and I was hitting left-handed off the machine, and obviously somehow was, at that time, crushing the ball off the machine left-handed. He saw that, called me into the office before fall practice started and said, hey, I saw you hitting left-handed, and he goes, do you want to try this out? And I go, I've tried this before, and it didn't go well. So he said, let's go ahead and just try it, bunting with my speed and everything, just getting down the line and all that. And I said, that's cool. And we went all fall, kind of most of the time working on the bunt, and then about halfway through, I started taking live ABs and stuff, swinging, and then we developed a swing, and ever since that happened, I haven't looked back since then. We took it into that season, and 2 days before our first game, he called me in and said, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And I said yes, and we have ran with it since then. That's the story with the left-handed.
That's a good story. Bryce Johnson is with us, the switch-hitting outfielder for the San Diego Padres. Bryce, I know you've been in the big leagues with the Giants, so this wasn't, that eye-opening for you. I mean, I'm sure you're very excited when you got the news to come to San Diego from El Paso, but you're stepping in right now for a pretty good player, Fernando Tatis Jr. There aren't too many guys anywhere that could, step in for that. What did the Padres tell you about what they're hoping to get and kind of how they want you to go about, playing right field in the interim without, putting too much pressure on it all?
Yeah, obviously you can't replace a Tatis. That's a one-of-a-kind player. But, no, I just do, I talk to Schultz, and, I play my game, kind of like how the last couple of games have been going. Whatever I can do to help the team win, move runners, use my speed, and then obviously defense first for me. So play great defense out in right field and, do what I do out there. But, yeah, it's just, be myself, be who I am, and continue to just, help whatever it is to help the team out. And that's my job, and that's what I'm going to just continue to do.
Bryce Johnson joins us here on Gwynn and Chris, one of the new Padres outfielders. And Bryce, just talk a little bit about having to toggle between roles and some of the difficulties doing that at the big league level. Obviously when you're down, playing AAA, you're playing every day. Now you're coming off the bench. Right now you're getting a chance to play a lot, obviously, with Toddy down. But just talk about having to navigate being in and out of different roles in the situation you're in at the big league level.
Yeah, I did a lot with the Giants. I did a lot of that coming off the bench, starting once or twice a week, and then coming off the bench. It's a tough role. I mean, you got guys throwing 100 now coming out of that pen. You don't see many guys throwing below 95, so you got to be ready. And I always say that's probably the toughest job on the baseball field is coming off the bench cold. 6th, 7th, 8th inning, ready to pinch hit, and it's tough, but that's the job we signed up for and all that.
Right.
So, being a role player, you gotta take it and run with it. Get your work in during the game, before the game. Know what's gonna happen during, or hopefully know what your role is gonna be going into that game, and you just take that and you just figure out what you got to do to get ready for that game.
Bryce Johnson with us as the Padres get set to take on the Boston Red Sox. And you're getting to play tonight in Fenway Park. I don't know that you got to play there when you were with San Francisco. I mean, this is one of the most famous baseball arenas in the world. Right field, you got Pesky's pole. You got a short little fence there that if you jump over, you could wind up in the stands. How excited are you about tonight, and how much preparation is there going to be just to make sure you're comfortable out there?
Yeah, I actually was here back in 2016 with the Cape Cod League. We had a little, showcase here, a little small scrimmage, stuff like that. So I kind of, that was a long time ago, but I kind of, got the feel of what this place looks like, feels like. Obviously, not a packed house, but I can't wait for that. But yeah, I think it's just, enjoying the moment, looking around. I mean, this is what you play for, is to be able to play in stadiums like this, and yeah, I just plan on having fun with it and just enjoying my time out there.
Last one for me, Bryce. I mean, the last 3 games have been pretty exciting, considering all of the different things that goes on. Very few have been on the field when things can get hectic like that. What is the number one rule for you when benches clear, dugouts clear, bullpens clear? What is the number one rule when you get out there?
So it's funny. This is the second time it's happened to me where we've kind of cleared benches like we did, and I was actually down in the tunnel in the cage getting ready for my AB. So I wasn't like it's twice now where I haven't been in the dugout when it's happened, and I have to come running out when it's already happening. I'm late to the party, and I got to try to make myself look like I was actually in the scuffle. So I'm hoping one of these days I could get out there, on time and make something happen. But it's cool. It was exciting. That was really, fun to be a part of and see. And then, having, Manny hit the home run right after, it just sent everybody in a frenzy. But it was really cool.
What did that tell you about your new teammates, Bryce? I mean, I thought that game made a loud statement to everybody that, first, don't mess around with the Padres. Second, if you do, you might get burned. Manny comes through. I mean, the timing of that couldn't have been written any better by a Hollywood script.
Yeah, Manny says it all the time too. He tells us, we hear him talk about it. Everybody here has each other's backs, and seeing that happen, having Profar's back in those situations, and him coming through after that just shows you, how tight this bond is here, and how close these guys are. And I'm just happy to be a part of it, and just get take it and run with it and have fun.
Well, we're happy you're a part of it too, Bryce. Thanks so much for spending a little time with us. Enjoy the weekend in Boston. Back to Dallas, which is, I guess, probably a little closer to where you grew up, right, in Texas. So that should be a fun trip for you.
Well,
and then we'll see you back in San Diego. But keep it going, man. Good to have you aboard.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Good job by Bryce Johnson on our Friar Friday interview. I like him too. And look forward to, I know one thing. He can steal some bases now. We talked about the speed, but he gets on base and there's a clear lane. He can take off. And, this guy is really quick. I think he should be bunting every game.
You were saying
like
that
not just
while
a sacrifice, but just, drop it down the third base line, even if they're looking for it. He's still fast enough to beat it out.
I just love guys who come on the show and say, I don't care what I'm doing as long as I'm helping the team, because I absolutely 100% believe him.
I do, and those are also the kind of guys that, you want to call up.
Yes.
And you mentioned it earlier. I mean, how are the Padres doing what they're doing? Because, they're missing so many key players. Well, they're doing it because AJ Preller's done a good job. So every time I say something nice about AJ Preller, I can hear everybody out there going, "Oh, you're just saying that."
I don't even care anymore, because you know what? He has done a decent.
He's done some
more
good
than
things.
decent job this year.
Done some very good things, and I don't say that just because I'm, on Padres station, because I'm as critical of him as anybody when something goes cattywampus.
Yeah, cattywampus.
I always like that word.
Before
and you wanted to say something about he said about Manny.
Yeah, so we always talk about how Manny might be a leader where he leads, and we don't get to see it all the time. He's a leader on the field. Maybe he's not the most fiery guy, but Bryce Johnson said that Manny tells them all the time that you have to have each other's backs, and that's how Manny's a leader, is he gets in these guys' ears and tells them, we're a unit, we're a team, we need to be there for each other, and that's how he leads.
And he still also leads by example by stepping in and telling Keibert Ruiz to get the hell out of the way.
He does do that too. I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry.
You're cutting me off.
Because we have to do one thing, the legal ID.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, this is Mike Schill.
We're going to hang a star for Fernando Tatis Jr.
The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
And we appreciate that station ID being handled by the happiest man in America, Mike Schilt.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
He's got to be.
His
happy
side
right
of the
now.
street is always sunny. And, you know, we criticize him and make fun of him. But how many of us really wouldn't mind living on the sunny side of the street a little more often than we do? Was that too deep of a question for you?
No, I just think sometimes I get so annoyed.
Because you cross over to the dark side of the street often.
Because I get annoyed with myself for being so positive. And then I go to the other side to even myself out.
Well,
but Mike Schilt doesn't go there.
No, he never goes there. He doesn't ever go there. Here's his lineup for tonight, Scrape. You ready? Luis Arise will lead off at first base. By the way, Luis Arise, I'm not sounding an alarm. His average is down to 310. For him, that's low. He's fallen to like 5th or 6th in the MLB batting race now.
Schilt said he's got like an ouchie.
Yeah, he's still playing hurt, and like a lot of these guys, like the guy batting second, Jerkson Profar, who's still got the second best batting average in all of baseball, 316. He trails only Shohei Ohtani of all people, leading the bigs in hitting. Jake Cronenworth is hitting third tonight. Manny flops into the cleanup spot. Well, he's usually third and Jake's fourth, so they're switching. Donovan Solano's fifth at DH. Jackson Merrill, Hassan Kim, Kyle Higashioka, and then our guy Bryce Johnson will bat ninth tonight. There's one guy I want to point out in the Boston lineup that you probably don't know a whole lot about.
Is it Tanner Hoctua?
No, he's pitching. Oh, you had to bring that up.
I love it.
Why don't you explain to everybody who that is?
The Hoctua girl?
Yeah, why don't you tell everybody who that is and explain what she meant?
No, I can't.
Oh, I see.
Just Google Hoctua.
You really want, we have young people who listen to this show. You want them Googling Hoctua?
No,
Thank you.
You're right. Don't Google that.
Don't Google that.
Don't Google it.
No, that's not who I meant. Boston lineup batting seventh tonight, catching Connor Wong. Why do I bring him up? He's hitting .333. He's got a better batting average than Shohei Ohtani, but he's about 20 at-bats short of qualifying for the batting race lead. There's actually another guy who's ahead of him who doesn't quite qualify yet, and that is Stephen Kwan of Cleveland. Stephen Kwan is hitting .373.
He is.
He's having
400.
He was at 400 for a little while, but again, he doesn't yet qualify. Now, these two guys will be qualified soon. They just need to, pick up 5 at-bats a day for about a week or so, and they'll be enough to qualify. And then the batting race will be different. But right now, Shohei Ohtani is first. Profar is second. And like I said, our guy Luis Arise has fallen down a little bit with the nicks and bruises that he's playing with.
This is kind of the way my brain is working today, but when you said nicks, I was like, we're talking about basketball right now?
No, we're not going to talk about basketball.
You're talking about nicks and cuts.
We got enough basketball in with Tony and his love of Bronny James earlier, so we are good on that.
Oh, man.
And your hate of Bronny James's dad.
I do not have hatred for LeBron James. I do think he's putting his son in a tough spot. I really do.
And you think he's the one who put him there?
No,
clearly.
No, Bronny wants to be an NBA player, but is Bronny ready to be an NBA player? I don't necessarily think his stats tell me that.
No, his stats don't tell you that at all. Come on. But I will point out also, as somebody did on Twitter today, that there were 3 players drafted in the first round out of Europe that are averaging less than Bronny James did per game in scoring.
Wow.
So all over the league, it seems like teams are taking chances on guys that they feel are going to be great but haven't necessarily proven that yet.
This whole 2-day draft
so
thing.
Bronny James is getting all the attention, but there's other guys like him who were also drafted.
I can't remember which national host said that the Lakers are I can't remember, so I'm not going to say what he said because I don't know. I can't remember who said it, but they were just basically saying the Lakers are just pandering to keep LeBron James in a uniform to sell tickets. That's
They
all
might
it is.
be. You know what? They might be. And if they are, would you want to let LeBron James go?
Would I? No.
He's a free agent.
No.
So if they,
But I don't want to draft his son either.
But if you had to draft his son to keep LeBron James there,
I guess I'm doing it, but I'm not happy about it.
yes, you are doing it.
I'm not happy about it. But
Yes, you are doing it because LeBron James is still giving the Lakers the best chance they have of success, even at the age of 39.
I agree with you.
The
about
Lakers
that.
are not going to be better tomorrow if LeBron James leaves in free agency.
No, they're also seeing the money roll in when everybody's buying LeBron James senior jerseys and LeBron James junior jerseys.
I'm buying LeBron James Jr. Who's that?
Bronny.
Oh, Bronny. I guess his full name is LeBron, and I had never made that connection.
Yeah, it's LeBron James.
All right. I got through the entire show without commenting about what a disaster that debate was last night.
Oh my gosh, Chris is all of a sudden a political commentator. Just go to his Twitter if you want. At Chris
Can I be the
LSD.
only one who thought that debate was a bit of a disaster?
I didn't even watch.
All right.
I saw clips.
Sam Levitt's coming up next. Padre pregame show. Padres and Red Sox. A weekend series. We're back to break it all down for you. Full 4 hours Monday starting at 2 o'clock. Until then, for Tony Gwynn Jr., Scraby, Chris, peace.